everyone! Sorry if I'm looking a little bit scruffy today. I may or may not be a little bit hungover and feel a little bit worse for wear. I was at this charity event last night that was really, really good. We were fundraising and raising awareness for this amazing charity called Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust. They're a UK-based charity that help and support women in the UK who have been diagnosed with cervical cancer or had abnormal smear test results and stuff like that. It was an amazing night for an amazing cause, and it's one that I feel really strongly about. You might have seen my past videos where I've talked about the importance of smear tests and stopping the stigma around them, making sure people feel comfortable, making sure people know how easy and safe and quick they are. I think it's a really important topic that we should be talking about a lot more. Most forms of cervical cancer are preventable with things like the HPV vaccine and regular smear tests and catching it early and stuff like that. So I really, really love the charity and think it's amazing what they do. So I just kind of want to give them a shout out before this video really gets started. And also explain why I look like this. So today we're doing something a little bit different, and we're looking at a post from Reddit about some pretty extreme parenting. This isn't really meant to be the kind of video to expose the person who is doing this, because, they're anonymous, I don't know who they are, but it's more to start a discussion about, I guess, kind of certain types of parenting. You might have seen my videos where I looked at the book To Train Up a Child by Michael and Debbie Pearl, and those are some really, really extreme and harmful child-rearing techniques, and they're based on religious teachings, which is why it was kind of appropriate to talk about that on my channel. But turns out that I actually really care about kids, which is surprising for me because I don't want any. It really, really breaks my heart to see children being mistreated in any way, which is why I think it's really important to talk about these kinds of topics. The post we're going to be looking at today from Reddit is about a woman punishing her child and basically reveling in it. She absolutely loves it. She boasts about it on Facebook. And I think the punishment is too extreme. I think it dehumanizes this poor child. I think it shows an absolute lack of respect for the child as a human being and an individual. I don't think it's fair at all. But I also know there are some people who disagree with that and probably think I'm being too soft. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today, and I'm going to read through the post, share some of my thoughts, and then maybe ask a few questions and try and raise some discussion points down in the comments. Hopefully it'll be a quick video, but an interesting one. So this post is a mother posting on Facebook about how she's punishing her child and essentially boasting about it and, wanting everyone to egg her on, basically. She says, "Tough love is all I know how to give," which to me is an incredibly sad statement. That breaks my heart in itself. That makes me pity the woman writing this so much. She says, "When I've busted my butt to do everything possible to give my child a great life, a better life than I had, and guide her and her siblings to the best of my ability. Several talks, plenty of chances, and still chooses to act a fool at school and home. Well, this mum has reached her limit." Now, I know I'm not a parent myself, but I can definitely sympathise with people who are parents, who get frustrated with their kids, and especially when there's poor behaviour. I understand it must be so difficult. And I do think it's wonderful that you're working so hard to try and give your kids a great life. I just don't think the response that's coming up is you trying to give your kid a great life. And yeah, it makes me sad. I also, when she says she's doing all this because her kid acts a fool at school and home, what does that even mean? Does that mean that the kids, maybe talking back a little bit? Does that mean they're not taking their schoolwork seriously? Or does that mean that they're trying to burn the house down constantly? We don't know how bad this kid's behaviour is, so we can't really, get a judge of, I guess, what punishment would fit the crime, But I have to say, the punishment that she gives, that she's about to describe, I'm not sure there's any crime that would fit this. I'm also not sure how old the kid is, but looking at the picture that she posts, I'd say maybe 11, 12, something like that. And yeah, I don't think this is any way to treat a young kid. I mean, look, she has a teddy bear next to her. She's not that old at all. Even if this was a teenager, even if this was a 16 or 17-year-old, I would not support treating a child this way. But let me tell you what she says, so this doesn't just sound like I'm ranting. She says, "She will learn to appreciate having a nice cozy bed now that she's sleeping on the floor." And the picture shows that she's literally given her kid a blanket on the floor to sleep on. And maybe a pillow? I'm not sure. "She will learn to appreciate the clothes and shoes we have bought her now that I have limited her to 3 pants, 3 tops, 3 undergarments, 1 hoodie, 1 jacket, and 2 pairs of shoes. She'll learn to appreciate having a washer and dryer because now she'll have to wash those 3-day outfits by hand to re-wear them. She'll appreciate the fact that she had nice clothes to sport the weekends because now she'll be wearing the same weekday school uniforms during the weekend, since that's part of the wardrobe I allowed her to keep. She will learn to appreciate family time and miss it now that she will have plenty of time alone to think about her horrible actions. And this is where it really breaks my heart, because now you're not just taking away material things from her. Now you're not just taking away, well, you're not just taking away luxuries anyway, you're taking away basics like, you know, a bed and clothes. But now you're not just taking away material things. Now you're taking away a basic social need that humans have. You're isolating her, alienating her. How is that going to teach her anything other than making her think that you don't love her, that you don't enjoy spending time with her, that you don't want to spend time with her? This bit in particular just breaks my heart for this poor kid. I understand putting kids in a timeout for 10 minutes, 30 minutes if they've done something wrong. I even understand grounding them so they can't go out with their friends and stuff, but saying that she'll have plenty of time alone to think about her horrible actions. You know, she's not going to have family time. That just, it is heartbreaking. There's no other word for it. It's cruel. She'll appreciate the phone she had and we pay for because now she's disconnected from the world. No social media, no friends, nothing. Again, I think this is a little bit extreme. I can understand taking away your kid's phone if it's to try and teach them a lesson about, maybe they've run up a crazy bill and you want to teach them the value of money. You can take away their phone. Or if they're not appreciating the fact that a phone is a luxury, yeah, take it away for a little while. If they've done something wrong, ground them for a short amount of time where they can't see their friends out of the house and stuff like that. But the whole no social media, no friends, nothing. She is disconnected from the world. Again, that just seems cruel and sadistic and you're enjoying isolating your child from everything and everyone. This, like I say, is taking away a human's basic need to be social. We're social animals. A lot of us might be, I'm an introvert. I know a lot of other people are. And being an introvert, it can get draining being around other people for too long. But we still need some social interaction in our lives in order to function and feel good and be emotionally happy and healthy, Isolating her from her friends and her family, it's cruel and unnecessary, and I don't see what she can possibly learn from this, other than feeling extreme loneliness and pain and isolation, and it's going to give her some proper, serious, messed up problems. It's not fair. I didn't have any real friends for a long time when I was a teenager, and that wasn't because they were taken away from me or anything, it was just because, I was the weird kid in school and people didn't really like me. I was quiet and I liked books and I wasn't very good at the social stuff, and people thought I was weird and people would make fun of me a lot, and I would come home from school most nights and absolutely cry my eyes out, and it messed me up for a long, long time, and the fact that it was mostly girls who were mean to me left me with some serious issues where I did not trust women for a long, long time, and it was a real issue for me, and I had to work through that stuff with a counsellor for a good few years until, I'm now in a functional state. But the point is that, this sort of stuff, especially when you're around this age, I'm just going to assume she's about 12, that sort of stuff when you're around this age, which is, kind of the time that I was affected as well, it messes you up for such a long time. How does this mother not realise this? She says she will learn to watch her mouth and respect her elders at home and at school, as well as follow directions and correct her behaviour as we have taught her to do so. I'm just going to throw this out there, but no matter what age I was, I would not respect someone who treated me like this. If you treat someone as less than human, how can you expect them to have any respect for you? Even when it comes to parenting, even when it comes to raising a dog, when it comes to your friends, when it comes to your partner, your family, everything for me is based on mutual respect. You can't just expect people to respect you regardless of how you treat them. Respect is something that is earned. And actually, this is a thing that came up in quite an old video of mine now, where I looked at this old blog post where this guy was talking about how wives owe their husbands respect and meh, meh, meh. And I think some people kind of misunderstood some of the points I was trying to get at, and maybe I didn't express my points clearly enough. But I understand that, when you meet a human being, there is this, basic level of respect that, I wouldn't say you owe them, but that, you should treat them with as another human. Just be respectful. That's a normal, nice thing to do as a decent person, right? And I also feel that, if you're going to marry someone, obviously you want to have mutual respect with them before you even agree to marry them, otherwise why would you? But I also think the criticism I had of, I think it was Matt Walsh, maybe, I'm not sure now, who wrote the blog post. The criticism I had of him was that he was saying, you know, no matter what this man does, because he's your husband, you owe him respect. And no matter how he treats you, you still have to respect him. And to him, respect meant complete submission. And this is the sense that I'm getting here from this post. The mother is not doing anything to earn her daughter's respect or trust or love, but she still expects it. And by respect, she means obedience and submission. That's what she wants from her daughter. And she's not going to get that this way. You can't treat someone as less than human and expect them to respect you or listen to you later. You can't treat someone as less than human and expect them to not have some serious issues. She says teenager. Oh, okay, so she's a teenager, but I don't think she's an old teenager. She's definitely like 13 max, I'd say. Teenagers nowadays think that us parents need to give them all that extra stuff. We sure in hell don't. All we have to do is provide the basic needs, a roof over their head and food. They take everything for granted and complain about every little dumb crap. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think all that extra stuff should include access to clean clothes and a bed and talking to your family. I don't think that's extra stuff. That should be in there with the basics. I understand it, you know, some kids are a little bit spoiled. And some take things like smartphones for granted. They take access to the internet and computers for granted. They take, I don't know, being given toys and money and whatever for granted. And yeah, I think some of those kids do kind of need to be taught a lesson. They need to be taught the value of money. They need to be taught that they're very, very lucky to have these things, you know. Growing up, you know, I bought my own laptop with money that I worked for while I was working 2 jobs. You know, so I understood the value of it. I knew how many months and months and months I had to work to save up for that laptop. So I really appreciated it once I got it. And I think, yeah, maybe stuff like that we should encourage more kids to do so they don't just take everything for granted and end up feeling spoiled and entitled. I get that completely. And I think, you know, if you want your kid to appreciate what you do around the house, then you do get them to start doing their own chores and stuff. You get them to, you know, put in a load of washing and whatever. But I don't think taking away all their clothes except 3 school uniforms and making them wash it by hand, I don't think that's going to teach them anything. It's just going to make them suffer more than they need to. It reminds me of some of the kind of parenting stuff you see on Extreme Cheapskates. I don't know if you watch that on TLC. Oh, it's so trashy. It's such a guilty pleasure watch and I love it. I don't doubt some of it's fake. But there's actually been a couple that absolutely broke my heart because I wasn't sure to what extent they were faked and what extent they were like real. But there are some things you can't fake, like the state of the house when like the cameras show up and stuff. I remember there was one episode where there was this guy and he was literally like hoarding money in the bank. He had hundreds of thousands of dollars in his bank account and he was showing them off to the camera. And then he was like, and you know, I do this because I like to live minimally with my family. And they had like minimal furniture in every room. It's like their dining room was literally a table and some chairs. There's nothing on the walls, no rugs, no storage, no pictures on the walls, nothing like that. It's just a room with a table. And they got to the kids' bedrooms and it looked like a prison cell. It was like a room with a bed and maybe 1 set of drawers, something like that. It wasn't much at all. And then I remember the kid being like, he did have a laptop for schoolwork, so, you know, I'll give him that, you know, good parenting there, you know, allowing them access to stuff like that to do school stuff. And yeah, I remember him saying, Dad, like, you know, schoolwork's getting a little bit tough. I could really use a desk to work at. And the dad was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. And he came back with a chair and said, there you go, put the chair next to your bed and use it as a desk. And I was like, way to just like ignore what your son asked for. And like your son wasn't asking for a specific desk. Your son wasn't asking for the desk necessarily. He was asking for a space where he could really work and really focus on what he was doing and really put time and attention into his school stuff. That's what he was asking for. And this father just missed the point and ignored him entirely just so he could save some money and be like, oh, well, here's a chair for you. I know I'm not a parent myself, but I have been a child with parents. And so from that perspective only, I'd say that, like, I think the key to any kind of family relationship, whether it's parent and child or child and parent or between siblings or between partners or whatever, I think a part of it is really understanding what people are asking for when they ask for something, understanding their motivations rather than just what they're asking for. And I think that can really help when it comes to discipline as well. If you do think maybe your kid has been a little bit spoiled and asking for too much, maybe you need to ask, what are they actually asking for? A kid who's like, oh, I want this game and this game and this game and this game, might come across as really spoiled, but maybe he's saying, I'm bored and I want more things. So maybe instead of just giving in and, like, you know, giving him a load of games, or maybe instead of punishing him and saying, well, you're too spoiled, I'm taking all of this away, maybe what you need to do is spend some more quality time with your kid because they're bored and they want some attention. Maybe that's what he's actually asking for and just doesn't know how to ask for it. He's a kid, and as a parent, it's your job to step up and understand them and be able to, like, what's the word? Not give in to their needs, but fulfill their needs, maybe? I don't know. And that is a lot harder said than... it's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot harder to do it. It's a very difficult thing, and obviously, like, it takes time and stuff like that. But one thing I know for sure is that posting something like this on Facebook and bragging about how you're treating your child is not the way to do things. It's just not. I also screenshotted a few of the comments from Reddit that I thought were just interesting. And I just want to read these out to try and get your opinions on them, if that's okay. So one user said, I see that some of the commenters here are debating whether or not this punishment constitutes abuse. It was on the casual child abuse subreddit, which is one of the ones that I like to browse, but always breaks my heart when I do. It's one of the... I don't know why I keep going back to it, because it's heartbreaking. But I think part of me likes to see, especially in the comments, that there are people who are actually out there doing stuff to help the kids in those situations. I think that's what keeps me going back, to know that there are people that are helping, and that by, like, having these kinds of subreddits, it's not just letting abuse go unnoticed. Do you know what I mean? You know, there are people out there who will stand up for these kids and want to help them and be able to do something to help them. This comment says, regardless of whether or not it's abuse, this is not optimal parenting. It doesn't take a close reading to see that this woman is exuding a thinly veiled sense of pride in her ability to punish her daughter. This post is attention-seeking behaviour on the mother's part. Completely agree. She's essentially saying, look at me, look how tough I am, I'm such a bad bum. I have the ability to make this little girl suffer. I'm so petty and little. I need to take out my frustrations on the people who depend upon me. I agree. That's what I see as well. And again, it's what breaks my heart. Frankly, this next bit is really sad as well. Frankly, I hear echoes of my parents in the words this mother uses. My father play-acted kicking me out the house when I was 13. Actually, I take back my previous statement. This is abuse. If this mother is like my father, who play-acted kicking me out the house, then this is likely a pic from the highlight reel of how this mother demonizes her daughter for being a bad child. If this mother is like my father, then this child is frequently being called lazy, foolish, ungrateful, etc. The adults in her life are defining her as a defective person. Poor thing, this isn't love. And yes, she'll be posting on r/raised by narcissists, just like I did. And then perhaps r/CPTSD. I'm not sure what subreddit that is, actually. I don't know, that's worth looking into. Yeah, this woman, or this commenter even, so brave for sharing their story. Good job on them getting through it and recognizing that, you know, that's not a normal or healthy way that their parents behaved. And they're clearly, like, moving on and growing from it and being amazing people, regardless of how scummy their parents were. So good on that person for sharing their story and being so brave and open about it. It just breaks my heart that they had to go through that, and that there's clearly still children out there who are being treated like this, and it's just horrible, horrifying. I hate it. This comment as well was part of a thread that I found really, really interesting, and again, it echoes a lot of my thoughts as well. It says, maybe part of the reason this little girl has trouble watching her mouth and respecting elders at home and school, to quote the post, is because she isn't being respected at home by one of the adults who is supposed to love her unconditionally. I'll never understand how parents can expect more from their children than they do from themselves. I'm all for discipline, and tough love can be appropriate in some circumstances depending on your definition, but my kids will never be made to question our love for them. Pretty decent parent here by the looks of it, so I appreciate that. This next comment says, what bothers me most about all this is how excessive it is. If the kid had to endure one of these things at a time, then that would be reasonable, but all of it at once? That's why it seems abusive to me. Also, what's the context here? Yeah, again, this is a question I asked. She chooses to act a fool at school could mean anything from harming another student to checking her phone in class. As someone else pointed out, her mum seems really proud of how awful she's being. That adds another layer of punishment/abuse to this situation. Humiliation. Actually, this is a point, I didn't even think of. Yeah, not only is the mother boasting about it on Facebook, but she's doing it publicly, posting a picture of her daughter as well, and that's going to be up on the internet forever. Once you post stuff on the internet, it's out there. It's very, very difficult to hide anything. This poor girl is going to feel humiliated, and as she grows up, it's still going to be there for a reminder of how she was dehumanized and humiliated and treated like crap by her mother. And again, that's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. A reply to that comment reads, yeah, and the line about learning to respect her elders screams, has an opinion or personality that differs from her selfish mother. I've heard that line so many times from the narcissists in mine and my husband's lives. Children are people. They're not tiny versions of you, nor are they slaves, nor are they programmable robots. They're thinking, feeling human beings. Couldn't agree with that bit more. Brilliant. So that's where I'm going to end this now, kind of like reading from that post. If you want to read more and see some of the comments and see the original post, I'll pop a link down in the description below. Also, if you want to find out a little bit more about the charity I mentioned, Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust, I will post a link to that in the description as well. They're an amazing charity who do amazing work, and I really encourage any women or people with uteruses and cervixes out there who are watching this, go book a smear test, go get it done. It's easy, it's quick, it could save your life. But anyway, let me know what you thought of this post. Let me know what you thought about the questions I raised. If you're a parent yourself, please share your experiences down in the comments of what it's like and how far you think is too far when it comes to kind of punishing your child. I've got a grumpy little Kyra here, so I'm about to go take her out on a walk before she cries anymore, because your cries are breaking my heart, aren't they, baby? I know. Should we go out to the toilet? Go for a little walkie? Yeah, that'll be fun for her. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you all so much. I'm so close to 100,000 subscribers now, and I absolutely can't believe it. So thank you so much to everyone who's been here from the beginning, who's only just joined. Like, you're all amazing. Thank you for supporting me and my channel, and my little Kyra bean. And hopefully I will see you guys again soon. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you guys so much. And a huge thank you goes out to everyone supporting me on Patreon this month, including Gambit and his chauffeur, Deshauwn, Data Jack, Rachel B. Royer, Heidi Mattila, Jadeon Sheppard, Corthee, Jaylee Moore, Sir Michael Moore, Christian Opitz, Sage Villarreal, Greg Ladd, and Loren Hart. And to everyone else supporting me on Patreon, you guys are amazing. I love you so much. Don't forget, if you want to see more stuff from me, go follow me over on Instagram at Rachel Oates with a 0, not an O, because I'm annoying. I've also got a merch store if you want to check that out. I'm going to be doing some really cool stuff with it this year, but you know, no pressure. Whatever. I'll see you guys again soon.